Alright YouTube, here are the new crossbars from Tessstudios. They're fairly similar to the ones you get from Tesla. I really like these. It's a fairly easy install. Comes with two of them with less than half the price of what Tesla charges for theirs. All right, but so just a basic instructions that I'm going to give you for installation right before I go into the nitty-gritty and all the details. Just want to simplify it for you because when you watch the video, it can be sometimes a little confusing since I was installing it as I go. But what I wanted to show you is the first step, number one, is you insert the bracket into the Tesla's ports here, which essentially look like this. Okay, so these do not have bolts in them, the ones on the bed, but the ones here do have bolts. I initially put it on, left the bolts in there, but that's incorrect. You have to remove the bolts because it needs to go down a little further for it to be flush. So I use the same bolts to put it on. So that's step number one. Do it in all four areas, and they're labeled left and right. Left corresponds to driver's side. Install those first. Number two is putting the crossbars together. They come in 4 different pieces, obviously 2 pieces attached to each crossbar, and you go through there's 4 screws, 2 on each side, 2 here and 2 on the other side. So 4 screws per crossbar. They go into these metal brackets that allow you to move them back and forth. You install those next. One thing I missed, which I'll show in my video, but there are these screws that, see if I can get that right here. Let's see here. There's these screws that go right. Sorry, it's blurry. I don't know why it's so blurry, but let me see if I can get it from here. There's these screws that go right in here, right in that area, because there's these brackets here that are loose on one end. So there's 2 screws on each side that go there, which I will indicate. And I forgot those initially, but I did write it in a text to make sure you guys remember that along the install process. To put those in, it's just 2 small screws on each side of that for this tiny bracket here on one of the sides, and they go on each of these. So that's step 2 is you put these 2 together with the 4 screws on each, and then the 2 to hold that little bracket. The third step is you install this part here. Now this part cap just comes off with a key, but there's this unit here that installs into the crossbar on all 4 sides, and it's just 2 screws on each side. The last step is that you attach this part. You bring on the whole unit, and you just attach it to the bracket that's in here. And then that's it. Other than putting these caps back on, you're essentially done after that. And what's nice again is that these come with these cushioned rubber padding here that looks like not only do they protect it, but they're probably watertight as well. There is a part in the video that I'll tell you on that passenger side. It's the only side where it was difficult removing the existing screws in there, and when I was putting them back in, they were fairly tight, and I was just kind of moving the socket wrench kind of back and forth and not really putting much attention, and it broke off. So that unit there is only hung on by 1 screw instead of the 2 screws. It's fine though, it holds, but if it happens to you, you should be fine. But just warning you that you just be careful. If a screw is going on tight, you just gotta go easy when you're putting it on. So that is pretty much it. Those are the 3 steps. We'll continue on with the unboxing and install process. But so far so good. I think these look really cool as an addition to my Cybertruck. You may or may not like it. I'm still waiting for to use them. I may at some point put something up here, maybe my spare tire that's in here if I need to use the whole bed. You can put that up there, and we'll see if it fits. But other than that, yeah, it looks pretty cool. Hey YouTube, we are working with the new, not the new, but the Tessstudio roof racks that I purchased from Tessstudio. So I'm gonna get together and put them on. let you know what these guys are all about. So this is just an unboxing here to kind of show you what's in. Crossbars here. Comes with the instructions on how to install them, and be guys showing you guys the install process. There's the rubber that goes in between these, which I'll show you later on. Tools here, pry tool, and it's like these screw drivers here. Looks like for the hex. Take these all apart. And these are the bases. So this just only comes with 2 crossbars, which is nice of TESSTUDIO to do, because some other brands they do with 4, which is pretty expensive, because you don't need all 4. Most people don't need all 4. Screws here, and press the key for it. These will go on the sides, and that's where the key goes. Same thing here. That's pretty much it. Gotta be careful here because there's a screw in here. So basically, these are the actual crossbars here. All right, I'll lay these all out and go through the install process. Okay, so essentially what we're going to do first is there are multiple pieces here. This is the actual roof rack. These are the pieces that go onto these part of the truck, which I'll show you later on where they bolt down to. It's nice that there's these rubber paddings that go kind of onto here to protect it, which I'll kind of show how that goes. And then this will eventually will go into here, to this bracket here, and this part will be actually on the truck, which I'll show you here in just a minute. But what I'm going to do first is I'll probably put these brackets on first, and then I'll come back and assemble this whole kit, and which I can then go on by and just install them once I'm done. So let's do this part first. All right, guys, so what we're going to first do is remove those 2 screws. We're going to use both of these within the Cybertruck here. We're going to move these 2 screws out. Get the better in there. All right, and then once we remove those, we're going to put these brackets on. Now, what's nice about what TESSTUDIO does is they put L and R in here. If you can see L right in there, L, and then the other side has R. L is for driver side, and R is obviously for passenger. So it's nice that they do that. They do that for all the other parts of it as well. And so next step is that we'll remove these. Let's skip to this part. Okay, so a little correction. You can see there's already some screws in there, and from what I understand, you do not take off those bolts. Sorry, those bolts in there. These just go against them inside there. So here you have the bolt. This flat end here is going to go on the inside of the truck, and it just sits there. And what's essentially going to happen is I've already put on this protective padding here, and then once I'll first attach this to the crossbars, and then eventually when I come back, there's actually this opening here, which is this opening here will kind of glide onto this opening. So this part here, you don't have to remove. That kind of just stays in place, which is kind of nice to have. And basically this will just go in the inside here. And once I come back and place the bolt in here, we'll place the bolt inside the middle here, and this will keep it basically tight down, and that's how we'll do it. So that's going to be the next step, and then we'll go from there. Okay, these are the included O-nuts. I'm going to put them on here. It does not come with a socket wrench to put this in, so you're just going to have your own socket wrench to do these with. I believe it's a 10 millimeter. Could be wrong. So I did confirm it is a 10 millimeter socket, so that is in place. Now I just got to get the other one done. I'll go on to the other side. Go ahead and put my 10 millimeter bolt in. The other one in here. I'm going to screw them in a little bit, as much as you can here. And go ahead and use your socket wrench. Okay, so that's in there in place. Now I'm just going to go and repeat on the other side of the Cybertruck. Okay. Hey guys, here's the other side. Now remember, this is this is R. Now, what I wanted to show you here is this does have some kind of wiring there that I do have covered with tape, some electrical tape. This is for my light bar here. Not a big deal. This will just go over the top. It's actually kind of nice because it'll protect it in a way. So, not a big deal there. Okay, both brackets are on both sides, and from the other side as well. There. Now I'm just going to go ahead and assemble the crossbars. What's important here is that you have these 4 brackets, and you're going to have 4 screws that kind of go along here and on here. So here's one unit that I'm going to attach to here. So 2 screws here, 2 screws here. For some reason, these 2 of these screws come with this, already on this area here on this crossbar, but the others are in here for some reason, are in the back. I don't know why. There's 2 in there and 2 in here, but we're going to go ahead and. Now the best way to do this is you're going to have to align these a certain way. You kind of have to guess here as far as where they're going to go. I'll show you that right now. All right, so now I kind of guess where these 2 areas go. I'm just going to have to adjust as I go in there, if they align. And they do not align, so I'm going to move this out a little more. Okay. Here's one. So I'm a little bit off here. Let's move this part back there. Still a little off. Move this part a little bit back there. And almost a little more here. There we go. I think that's a good fit there. I don't know if you guys can see that. Both of the metal anchors are there. So now I'm just going to add these parts through. So these are just basically washer. 3 components: a small washer and a large washer. That's kind of how they come. All right, and I believe these, just use this tool to tie these down. I don't want to make them too loose right now because I may have to adjust them. So I'm going to fix this part here. What I probably should do is measure out how long it's going to be on the actual Cybertruck. Okay, so I'm measuring here from the top part. It's about 54, almost 55, 54 and a half. Kind of this bar right there, this bar here. And now when I go onto this, to the back part of the Cybertruck, it's a little more. It's about, I would say about 59 there. So just keep that in mind. About 54 and a half to 55 and about 59 there. Okay, so I got this part here pretty close. I didn't measure. Again, you want to keep these loose because you can always adjust these when they're on there. But I want to make sure they're kind of right. This is about 50, almost 55 here, and that's fine. I'm going to put the screws in here, and remember, I'm going to keep them loose because I can continue to adjust them. Okay, once again, I'm doing the same thing, putting the small and the large washer, and again, I'm putting these on loose. I mean, I'm putting them down, but I'm putting it on rather loose because here I can still kind of move them back and forth. See, that a little too tight there. Okay. Okay. Oh, yeah, these are pretty tight here. Loosen those up. So what's nice about this now, since those metal brackets are in, I can still move this up and down, right? So I don't have to be precise here. Now I'm just gonna lock this in place so I can move it along here. Just make sure it's stable so it doesn't move too much on me while I put the side brackets on. And remember, these do say L here. So I notice how they say L right there. Okay. So, and just so you guys know, even these little brackets will say R or L here. So you'll notice that they may not fit snug here because these little supportive cushions here also have the L and the R. So just so you guys know, so this is the L here, as you guys can see, right there, L. So what I'll do now is put both of these sides on. It just goes on like that. I do the same thing to this side here. Just add it on this part here, and now I'm just gonna close them with the bolts. Okay, the next step is you got to put these small screws. They call the M20s. I would use your own hex screwdriver. It just makes it easier to put these in. There's going to be 2 of them that go on each side. I'm going to put both of them on here by just showing you that there's 2 of them here on each side. So there's 8 total of these. These go on 2 on each side of the bars. And probably easier if you use a electric drill. I'm just gonna go ahead and finish that bolting that. All right, guys. So the other side, the 2 bolts I've been putting on the other side here. So that's all set. We got the whole crossbar now ready to be mounted. That's whole crossbar there. Now I'm just going to go ahead and get it all mounted on the top there, okay? All right, guys, now to mount these 2, I'm going to be using these big bolts with one washer, and this is going to go at the right in this area here, right there, and onto that bracket that we mounted earlier in the Cybertruck, which I'll show now. Okay, guys. Now I put the whole assembly together, so this will make it a little easier to install. And I have the cushioning bracket on, so first I'm just going to go ahead and install this part here on this end. So you can see I have the whole bracket there. Let's go ahead and go with this part here. We can still adjust it here. Place this bracket in. Screw in. Adjust this side here so I can push in a little bit. Now I'm putting in this side here. I think it goes on a specific way. I think I probably put it on the other side. So I just have to rotate it. So yeah, so it goes on a certain angle, so you guys have to be aware of that. So I did have to rotate it to get the specific angle. Now I'm just getting my bolt and screw. Just put it on loosely. Now I'm just going to go to the other side because do this here. So I can stretch it out a little bit. And the problem I made here is that I put in the L on both sides. Guys, so the error I made here is that I put in the L on both sides, and that was my mistake here. For some reason I assumed that the top part is all L, but I remember I told you guys L is for driver and R is for passenger, and that's why this looks strange on this part here, because it's not fitting. And I thought you had to angle it a certain way, but I was wrong. And the problem is that I put in the wrong side here. That was just a stupid error on my part. That's it. I'm just going to screw these in place. So now that fits in fine. Okay, just going to put those screws in. Okay, so I went through and secured it with this bolt down here. Okay, secure this part of this bolt down here. I made sure, I put in these screws here. And really now, for the most part, we're done. We just got to put this this kind of weather strip here, and this part will go down here. Actually, I'm sorry, this part will go like that. That was wrong. This part, also this part goes down. This part goes up. Goes right through here. If you guys are able to see how that went on. So that goes up. Just gonna put that through. Just gonna keep feeding that through. Okay, so whatever you have left over, you're supposed to cut off. So I'll show you that. Okay, so whatever you have left over, you're just supposed to cut off. And that's pretty much it. You zoom in here so you guys can see that. Okay, so the little part I had just cut off. Very easy. And the very last part, make sure you get the one that says R. This is the bracket that will go on top. That will have the key here. So this should just mount directly on. So make sure it's open. Okay. It's in open position now. Okay. Lock it. That's it. And that's the crossbar there. So I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. Showing you there. And that's the mounted crossbar. I'll get some daytime pictures so you guys will see it, and we'll get the other side in place as well. I forgot to show that there's these little screws that go on each side here of this bracket here, so it doesn't come loose. This bracket is already attached. This one is not. And I forgot to show you that there's these little screws here that will attach on each side. You know, attach on. Sorry, it's okay, on each side here and here. You know, there's only two that attach to each crossbar. Remember, this is already fixed here, and so basically there's 4 screws that attach back here. All right, so that keeps this little part here from moving. Last thing I forgot to include, there's this piece of kind of larger weather stripping, and you kind of pretty much have to cut it to fit this part here. You kind of notice here, on the very top, I had to put stripping on top there to put 2 pieces. I'm going to do the same thing here. This part is kind of fitted in here. I'll have to play with it to make it work, but basically put that end in here to kind of give you that bit of weather stripping there. And that's pretty good. I think I'll play with it a little more, make it a little perfect, but that's pretty much how it goes. All right, guys, so I made a mistake here. I did not remove the screw that resides already in these 2 brackets and above this window. I thought the instructions said to leave it on. I thought one of the YouTube videos said to leave it on, but you can clearly see there's a gap. Even though it's on there good, there's a gap. You should remove the screws. As some of you may know, the ones in here do not have a bolt in there already. But the ones here do have bolts, and I thought you just had to put them on top, but it looks like you clearly have to remove the bolts. So I'm gonna go ahead and work on that, and so this way there's no gap. So just so you guys know, you gotta remove the bolt that's already in here, the factory bolt, and then just put them over the bracket that sits on there. Guys, here they are. These are the bolts, the factory bolts that are already in there, so I'm going to use those instead of what it comes with. I hope that won't be a problem since these are a little smaller. I'll see if there's still a gap when I put these on. Since these are a little bit higher instead of these, we'll see how it works. Okay, so I've confirmed that the original bolts will fit fine. You can see this is a perfect fit here, so you don't have to use the ones that it comes with, as compared to what I did before with that gap. You see that gap there? There's no gap here. Using the original bolts, this is a perfect fit here. And that's a good, it's going to protect against water leakage, and it's pretty good. So I think I'm happy with that. So I'll go ahead and fix that one as well and cover this up and get some final shots. Guys, unfortunately, this screw broke off. That's my error. I was tightening it too hard and it just broke off. So you guys got to be careful, because when you do tighten these, it can kind of go, if you're feeling like your socket wrench is going back and forth, that kind of, you know, pulls back on it and you can rip this off. Hopefully I don't really need two. Hopefully that one will be enough. But just so you guys know, you have to be very careful now. Don't make my mistake and break this off. All right, guys, here they are, finally installed. You see that? That looks much better. And this is pretty sturdy. This ain't going anywhere, even though it's missing that bracket that's there, but it's pretty sturdy. And I show you all around here. Pretty darn good. This ain't going anywhere. Yeah, looks pretty good. Now, what's cool about these, if you get the Tesla, if you get this Tesla off-road bar, is that it's kind of glued on, so you don't have to use this part here, which allows you to put these crossbars on and have that light on. So that's kind of nice. But yeah, that's what it looks like so far. This is from Tessstudio. Thank you again for allowing me to review these. I did purchase these. I did receive a discount. I'll leave my discount coupon code for you guys to purchase these as well. These are pretty much almost identical to Tesla's. They look fairly similar to Tesla's, and I really like the install. It's just an easy install, and for two of these, it's like less than half the price of what Tesla charges, which is really nice. And let me just show you the top of these bad boys here. So you can see the one in the back, it does stick out a little bit more as opposed to the one in the front there. All right. Here are the crossbars, roof racks, crossbars from Tessstudios. Thank you all for watching.